Good afternoon and good morning, depending on when you view this particular interview. Today, well, my name is Anthony Parker, of course, y'all know that. I want to give a shout out to my co-host, Kim Daniels. And today's topic, we're going to focus on, I brought in a retired police officer, and he's going to give his first-hand encounter of individuals who were impaired. He's going to talk about the arrest that he's made or didn't make or whatever the situation. And the reason why, you probably wonder why I have him here. The reason why is because individuals such as myself or individuals who may be deaf or have some type of impairment want to be treated equally. And it shouldn't be a situation where we want to be treated equally here and we want to be treated differently anywhere else. So that, y'all probably wondering, that's the reason why I brought him in, and we're going to allow him to give a little background of his stay as an officer and the training and things of the nature. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Larry Lewis. I was a Baton Rouge police officer for 31 years. I've been retired for the last 2 years, and 2 years, 5 months, I think so. In that time, I worked uniform patrol. I've worked so many divisions, not funny. One uniform patrol, community policing, the strike force, and the strike force team that I worked. I had a nickname for it called 700 Club. Left there, worked housing authority, back in uniform patrol, became a supervisor, then started working. I became the commander of the CAT team, and that's another strike force. And I was a sketch artist for the department last 13 years on when I was on. I also became the precinct commander and finally a night commander.
So as you can see, he's done a lot. Did you finish up as what was your ranking when you finished?
Captain. That was the commander.
So he's been through a lot of, he's done a lot of things on the force, so I'm quite sure he has some stories that he can tell us about his encounter with individuals who were impaired. So with that being said, we're going to jump right into the questions. And the first question I want to ask is, what is your perspective on the treatment of individuals who were impaired then when you were an officer? How did you actually treat them and what happened?
We treated them no different from we treat any other person that wasn't impaired. You quickly learn that impaired people or handicapped can hurt you just as well as somebody that's not impaired. And so we treat everybody in a manner where we want to go home. Everybody want to go home, and we didn't discriminate just because you was handicapped. Anything that we were gonna treat you any differently.
Did y'all have any special training before y'all went on to the force?
Well, like I said, I got on, it was 31 years ago. I mean, actually a little longer than that because I've been retired for 2.5 years. But the only training that really stands out is the training we had dealing with people who was emotionally challenged. Because a lot of times, most of the people we arrest, a lot of times they have mental problems, and we had to go to certain trainings on that. But other than say somebody in a particular wheelchair or blind or like in your case blind or deaf or anything else, we treated them all the same.
So was that your perspective before you actually had got onto the police force in terms of when you saw individuals who were blind or deaf? Did you have that same perspective, or did you look at them any differently or whatnot?
No, it's like everything else, it's a learning process. I don't think that you have that many blind people or physically impaired people in prison. I think because they got an impairment, they don't tend to be the biggest criminals. So we don't have to deal with them as much as we deal with somebody, like I said, that got emotional problems.
That's important. I really find that what you just said was very important. So when you actually got on the force and whatnot, what, if you can remember, you say it was so long ago, what was your encounter?
Not that long, but yeah.
What was your encounter of the individuals who were impaired? What was your first encounter, and what type of impairment did you have?
I haven't had a bunch, but I can tell you a couple of them that stand out. One, I was working, like I said, we had the old 700 club then, and this guy was dealing dope from his from outside in his car actually, and we pulled up on the car, and they had a couple of guys in it, and we asked all of them to step out, and he couldn't step out, of course, because he was paralyzed from the waist down. So I reached in the car and picked him up, and the car was parked in front of his house, so I picked him up and I carried him to on the front porch and put him in the chair, and then he looked up at me, and I was like, what you looking up at me for? And he was like, I'm sorry. I'm like, sorry about what? And he looked down at my shirt, and when I looked down at my shirt, and I noticed that he peed all over me. And when I turned around, everybody out there was laughing at me, and I'm like, I didn't know he couldn't hold his pee, and he didn't do it on purpose. I just went home, but it was kind of embarrassing, but
So the guy that you arrested, he was, of course, you say he couldn't walk or anything like that. Did he at any point, or maybe someone else, expect any kind of treatment once you? No,
he knew he was dealing dope. He knew that he was going to jail, and we took him to jail.
What about any other people, just that y'all have arrested, like that? Say for instance, y'all came across me or whatever, somebody that's blind. Did y'all run across that person and say, well, he wanted some type of special treatment or something like that?
No. Let's talk about you. We dealt with somebody that was blind before, and this particular blind guy, he got around like he wasn't blind. We did. If you didn't know that he was totally blind, we wouldn't. The officer would have handled up on him, would have fought him, and. Just so happened, I knew the guy was blind. I knew the guy was totally blind, and the blind guy had been drinking, and he wanted to fight. And the other officer, the officer didn't know that the individual was blind, and he went there to go make an arrest. And myself and another sergeant, we actually stopped him and told him, man, the guy is blind. And he couldn't tell because he moved around and quite honestly, he moved around like he wasn't blind, but we stopped him, and we just wound up. I think we just wound up giving the guy a summons and let him go. But as far as if the guy would have swung, if the blind person would have hit the officer, well, he would have had to restrain himself, and we would have had to put that guy on the arrest. But it worked out where we didn't have to do anything physical. Have to take the blind person down.
So in hindsight, that goes to show you, since we want to be treated as equal, if anything of that vernacular were to happen, we get the same treatment as everyone else. So, I mean, that's an interesting, that was an interesting story. But briefly, with my experience with officers, I had gotten into a little minor situation way back in the game, and I didn't expect to be treated any differently, but they didn't treat me any differently as well. They put the handcuffs on me, did whatever they had to do. So I didn't look for any special treatment or anything like that. It's like basically you do the crime, basically you do the time, sort of. So that's very interesting. So with that being said, I might just ask you any questions, and I want to know if you ever have treated anybody differently because they were
handicapped? No.
While on the force?
No. Like I said earlier, that handicapped person can hurt treat you just as well as anybody else can. But the thing about, we try to treat everybody with respect, and I think that's the key word here when police officers dealing with civilians, and when civilians dealing with police. If we just all have enough respect for each other, I think a lot of stuff can go, can go with anybody getting hurt without anybody getting hurt, and I think it'd be a lot smoother. Say, if you treat me with respect, I will treat you with respect, and because the way it is, and a lot of people don't realize it, the way it is, the system is designed for us to win. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about the police. I heard Chief Paul make a statement, and it was funny at the time, but then it was true. He said they don't need street lawyers. If we get pulled over, if the police decide to they're investigating a case, and it's not your time to put your Perry Mason hat on and become a lawyer, because it's not. They got places for that. Just do what the officer tell you to do. The officer gonna treat you with respect, and the situation can you can handle the situation in the court. You don't have to handle it on the street.
So, and piggybacking off of what you just said, I guess it's not the time to even say, as a blind person or a person that's impaired, say, "Oh, come on, officer, man, you can't see, you can't, you gonna do it like that." I mean, you're not gonna take that into consideration. Which it shouldn't be anyway.
No, we're gonna treat you according to the crime you committed. Yeah.
So, in brief conclusion, just give us a few comments about how officers are, should treat individuals who are impaired, and how individuals who are impaired should expect to be treated.
Yeah, like I said, respect. The impaired person ought to have respect for the officer, just like the officer gonna have respect for that person. Now, if that officer if disrespectful, if the officer, you see like the officer is doing something that you don't feel like is right, well, we got avenues to take care of it. You can go to internal affairs, you can call the chief's office, or they can take care of it. They got other ways we can take care of it, but taking care of it on the street is not the way to do it.